woman thinks she's got an impossible problem, but I believe you can solve that problem with her in just a few minutes if you will spend that time with her. I said, well, Laurie, tell her to meet me backstage. I'll get there about 10 minutes early. My schedule was such that was about all I had. Well, I got there, and I was on backstage behind the curtain on one side. She spotted me from the other side, and as she walked across the stage, I have never seen as much anger in a human being in my life as I saw in her. She almost started crying when she saw me. She said, oh, I'm just so glad to see you. I got this horrible job. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I hate everybody down there. I mean, you talking about negative nails, she was it. She said, can you help me? Now, understand, I've only got about 10 minutes. So I looked at her, and one thing I have learned, I don't do counseling, but I talk with a lot of people who do, in psychology, psychiatry, and the ministry. And they tell me that everybody who comes to you with a problem are not necessarily looking for a solution. I couldn't understand that for a long time. Why do they bring you a problem if they don't want to solve it? Well, I can tell you why. They want to tell you about it, you about it, you about it, you about it, and you about it. And if you foul up the deal and solve the problem, they can't tell you again, you again. They want the attention that goes with the problem, and every company just about it has that kind of an individual. They want the attention that goes with griping and complaining. Well, I looked at the lady, and it wasn't unkindly, but firmly I said to her, yes, and you know, ma'am, I'm afraid your problem is about to get worse. She said, what do you mean? I said, I believe they're going to fire you. She was stunned. I couldn't have stunned her more if I'd hit her in the face with a bucket of ice water. She said, fire me? Why on earth would they fire me? The inflection in her voice clearly said, they're the bad guys, I'm the good guy. Why don't they fire them and keep me? Have you ever noticed that people who are the problem never recognize that they are? They're in complete denial. They think denial is just a river in Egypt. Why would they fire me? I said, ma'am, I don't believe there's a company in America big enough to contain this much poison in one small spot. Have you ever noticed that when somebody is about to lose something they've been complaining about, whether it's a car, a home, a mate, a job, or whatever, when all of a sudden it appears they're going to lose them, it takes on brand new value. She looked at me and said, well, what can I do? I said, do you really want to know? She said, yes, I do. That's the reason I came to see you. I came looking for help, but you sure haven't been any help so far. I said, well, ma'am, I've got an idea, and I will absolutely guarantee you it positively, definitely, absolutely will work if you will just do it. She said, I'll try anything within reason. I said, okay, when you get home tonight, all of your household tasks are complete. It's bedtime. Get off in a room right by yourself. Get a sheet of paper out, and at the top of it, write, I like my job because. She interrupted me. She said, that'll be easy. I don't like nothing about that job. Don't like nothing about those people down there. And I said, well, just as a matter of curiosity, do you work there for benevolent reasons, or do they pay you for working there? She said, well, I got to confess, they pay me. And I said, and you don't like to be paid? Oh, she said, yes, I do. I said, okay, tell you what you do. Open your notebook right now. We'll start our list of the things you like about your job. They pay you for working there, and you do like it, don't you? She said, absolutely. But she just stood there. I said, no, open your notebook now, and we'll get busy on the list. She just stood there. I said, ma'am, let me tell you what my experience in life has been. I've discovered that in 100% of the cases, no exceptions, people who won't take step number one never take step number two. You see, she had come to me with an impossible dream. Her dream was that nice Mr. Ziegler was going to solve all of her problems, and she would live happily ever after. But folks, I got news for you. I can't solve her problems. I can't solve your problems. But I will give you some steps that I'll absolutely, definitely, and positively will work for you, as it worked eventually for her. I said, well, ma'am, let me tell you something. Unless you're willing to take step number one right now, it's been nice talking with you. She angrily opened her notebook. Before we got through, there were 22 things she liked about her job. Not only did they pay her for working there, they paid her above average. She had 3 weeks vacation with pay. She had a retirement program. She was in on profit sharing. She had health insurance, life insurance, and accident insurance. She lived less than 10 minutes from home. She was in on management decisions. The company sent her to 3 seminars a year to be paid for. She had her own private office and parking place. 22 things that she liked about her job. Now I said, man, when you get home tonight, everything is finished. Get off in a room right by yourself. Close the doors. Change one word from I like my job to I love my job. Get in front of that mirror. And folks, I cannot say this strongly enough, but I'm going to try. The eyes are the windows of the soul. Look yourself in the eye. And with excitement and enthusiasm, say, I love my job because they pay me for working there. I love my job because they pay me above average for working there. I love my job because I have a wonderful insurance program. I love my job before every one of the statements. You will sleep better that night. You see, there's something hidden in what I'm saying to you now. When she says, I like my job, she's really saying, I'm grateful for my job. And of all of the emotions we can have, according to Hans Selye, the #1 stress specialist in America, the healthiest of all human emotions is gratitude. I said, you go down that list. I like my job. I love my job, rather. That is a way of gratitude. You'll sleep better the first night. Tomorrow morning, when you get up, get back in front of the mirror just before you go to work. Get back in front of the mirror and repeat the process again with excitement and enthusiasm. I love my job because, and take the list with you. Because the reality is, you see, you will have started to change from a fault finder to a good finder. Some people do really find fault like there's a reward for it. They really do. Take the list with you, and you will be able to add to that list, absolutely guaranteed. Do this every morning and every night, and you will have an astonishing recovery from this advanced case of stinking thinking. Now, I didn't say that to her, but I'm saying it to you. That's what it was. It was an advanced case of stinking thinking. Well, 6 weeks later, I was back in Birmingham, Alabama. I was doing a follow-up sales seminar. Now, the lady was not in sales, but she had been listening to my tapes. She had been listening to Automobile University, and she had discovered that everybody sells. Everybody who will ever hear this is in selling. Whether you're a school teacher, a civil service worker, a military personnel, an executive secretary, it doesn't make any difference. What you do, you sell every day of your life. There she was at the sales seminar, seated on the front row, grinning so wide she could have eaten a banana sideways. I'm telling you, you're talking about somebody that was excited. She was turned on. I said, well, how you done? She grinned even more broadly and said, Mr. Ziegler, I'm doing wonderfully well, and thank you for asking. She said, you cannot believe how much those people down there have changed. I got a lid on the line, folks. You're not going to change anybody else till you change you. Everything really does begin with you. Now, you see, the unfortunate thing, this lady had been raised in a very negative environment. First, her parents had told her that she'd never amount to anything. They had said, you know, you're always late, you're always sloppy, why can't you be like your brother or your sister or whatever? When she got married, her husband had continued it, and so her self-talk had become completely negative. Everything that she said about herself was negative. Like Dad said, I'll never amount to anything. Or like my husband says, I can't do anything right. But when she started changing the input, then some radical change.
What's up, Fire Nation? Another bonus episode coming your way. This one was a great chat. I had a lot of fun with Terry Wilson. Terry is a serial entrepreneur who offers entrepreneurs and solopreneurs the tools, training, and technology needed to earn and enjoy more. For the past 13 years, he's helped thousands of hungry individuals discover their thing, develop the skills to do it, and be given a strategy to deliver it to market and produce value. Terry has a weekly podcast that can be heard on iTunes, Stitcher, and at terrywilson3.com. He also wrote a book called You Are Worth More, which you can check out at youareworthmorebook.com. We have a lot of fun in this episode, Fire Nation. I truly hope you enjoy. It's hard. It is hard work to achieve uncommon success. But you know what else is hard, Terry? being broke.
You better believe that.
Living paycheck to paycheck, not being able to support your loved ones, not being able to support yourself, not being able to get up in the morning and do something that you want to do, but doing something you have to do. That's hard too. So Terry, my call to action for everybody here is choose your hard. Like back in 2012, it was hard. I spent 32 years of my life doing hard work and making the wrong decision on choosing my hard. I was going down the wrong path. I wasn't having any success. But then I flipped it and I said, you know what? Building this business, Entrepreneurs on Fire, it's going to be hard work. But the alternative is hard too. So I choose the hard of building a life of freedom, of building a life of choice, of building a life of uncommon success. And that's my call to action to everybody hearing our voices today. Choose your hard.
Choose your hard. Boy, I love that. You know, because there's a high cost of low living. And sometimes we think that, you know, we're just going to get out of this easy by taking the path of least resistance. And boy, sometimes the end of that path is just a tiger. I'm telling you, brother, I'm telling you.
Identify your big idea. Not be a weak, pale imitation of somebody else's big idea, which most people do. They're like, oh, look at what Terry's doing. He's so successful. Look what John's doing. I'll just copy them. And then you wonder why you fail, because you're a weak, pale imitation of those people and you will never win as a result. You need to come up with your big idea, your zone of fire, and wake up every day on fire, living that life. That is the life that you deserve. Because what at the end of the day do we really want? Freedom. The ability to wake up and do what we want, where we want to do it, with whom we want to do it with. If you have those three things, what more is there in life? And you can give yourself that gift. Just take it.
Which is identifying, why are you here? You know, I like to say it this way. You're not a cosmic accident. You didn't show up on planet Earth because lightning struck a mud puddle billions of years later and you crawled out. You're a significant person with a significant reason for being here. There's a reason for you to be here. And once you identify that big idea, as John just said it, life becomes, oh my gosh, becomes unimaginable. Give us another. Go ahead.
Just on that point real quick. I mean, I think it's so key for people to understand this, like what Terry is just sharing. There is so much wisdom out there in this world, but there's also so much noise and it's chaotic. And sometimes it's so hard to really cut through all of this and to really get to the meat and potatoes, to really get down to what matters.
Does anyone know Terry's story, what Terry did?
I do.
So Terry sold musical instruments, sold pianos, right? And what was it? Was it 9/11 that created the problem?
Yeah.
9/11 creates a problem. Nobody wants to go. There's no money in town anymore. It's a brick and mortar store. Some woman comes up to him in church, some older woman, and she's like, I was thinking about your problem, and the Lord told me you should sell them on the computer. Sell your pianos on the computer. And Terry's like, that's a great idea. I got to get out of here because you're crazy. So, of course, he does it in that sweet way where he says, oh, bless your heart. And
Bless your heart.
He thinks about it. And then he's like, you know, he told me about the story about, you know, the guy, it's a flood and, you know, you should get out. No, the Lord's going to save me. And at the end, he goes to God and says, why didn't you save me? He's like, I did. You know, I tried. I sent you the news report. I sent you a helicopter. You know. So Terry takes that and he's like, God's telling me what to do here, right? So that was the message. I should sell these things online. His first thought when the woman tells him that is, how am I gonna, because she said her grandson sold CDs.
On eBay.
Yeah, Terry's like, how am I, you could just I can't put a stamp on a piano. This is crazy.
Drop it in the mailbox.
Yeah, so the next day, right? The next day he starts sells them out in a week. So he doesn't think about, he doesn't latch on to his idea of I can't ship these things cheaply, right? He just goes past that. He goes, well, what's my first solution? My first solution is I got to sell these things. That's all he's thinking about. He sells out his whole inventory in a week. Then the problem comes to him. How do I get rid of these things? I've now sold them. How do I deliver them? So what would you guys have done?
Hire a U-Haul and drive them out there.
Yeah, that's what Terry did. Terry got a truck and just was like, well, I'm going to take my brother-in-law. We're going to go around the country. We're going everywhere. And he delivered pianos for 2 weeks. That's amazing. And then, then he's like, oh, and the next thing is I talked to someone.
Welcome Welcome to TerryWilson3.com.
Decade of helping others
Discover, develop, and monetize your skills and talents
at TerryWilson3.com.
This is the Terry Wilson. Really, I'm excited, Terry. I want to get started.
You're the real deal, right? You're the genuine article.
Right now, Terry, I'm so inspired after listening to you for the last 25, 30 minutes to go back and do about 400 things. You got me so jazzed up.
I'm still blown away by your story.
When I think of Terry Wilson, I think about the comeback kid.
You're like a cousin or an uncle that I just want to hang out with.
Terry, you have made a huge impact in my life.
Can't possibly say enough good things about you except that I love you.
Here's your host, Terry Wilson.
Welcome to TW3. This is episode 493 or 492. We might have screwed up last week's numbering. I don't actually know. I'm basing that off memory, but we're going to say it's 493. A news flash. The market and economy has changed, but here's some very encouraging news. The tried and true strategies to earn more have not changed much at all. As a matter of fact, they have become even easier and more accessible than ever. The famous shark from ABC's TV shows Shark Tank, Laurie Ranier, said the one thing that has come out of COVID is a surge of people either starting their own business or people figuring out a way to work and stay at home. So what does this mean to you? If you're looking for an opportunity to work from home now, there's more viable options than ever before. And if you're looking for people to offer opportunity to, there's more looking now than ever before too. So yes, no matter where you are, this is a great time to consider improving or starting your own business. So tonight, we're talking about the $500,000 business strategy. This is a business strategy and model that we've been able to help new and exciting business owners with over 13 years grow their revenue stream in record time. So stay tuned for that in segment 2 coming up in just a few moments.
And tonight's show is sponsored by DoorDash. The holiday time is a busy time, and there's no need to have dinner plans be one more thing you have to worry about. With the ease and convenience of your DoorDash app, you can have food delivered hot and fresh to your door in just minutes. Get up to 50% off your next DoorDash order by going to TerryWilson3.com/DoorDash. That's TerryWilson3.com/DoorDash. Tonight's show is also brought to you by our longtime friend at Audibles. Audibles has over 70,000 different titles from every genre of every book you can think of. Are you into murder mystery? What about self-improvement, sports, faith, cooking, or music? All of that and more can be found with your 30-day free trial and first 2 downloads for free at TerryWilson3.com/freebook. That's TerryWilson3.com/freebook. You've heard Dad say it now for over 13 years now. Earners are learners and leaders are readers. If you want to go to the next level, you have to grow to the next level. So go to TerryWilson3.com/freebook now and start your journey to the top.
I think Dad does it a little better, but he's probably a little bit more practiced as far as that little,
you gotta spit it out like it's a song or something.
You gotta spit it like a rap. It's a bar. Anyway, we got questions coming up pretty soon here. If you want to submit your questions so you can get them asked on our podcast, you can go to TerryWilson3.com and our little chat bot there, or you can text the number. Terry, what's that number?
It is 864-507-9696.
Coming up right after our break, we have our training. That's what Terry's been working on here in the studio.
And I'll be working again.
It's been perfect. And then we've got a mastermind this Wednesday, December 15th at 8 p.m. This is going to be the last one for the year. So if you can make it, please show up.
Hey, you've been coming to the masterminds. What did you think?
I always like our masterminds just because it's a way for the tickets that are in our ticket system, and I do the problem. I give it to you, and you do a video on the problem.
Yeah.
So I love Wednesday night trainings. But
sort of mops up
genuinely,
any leftover mess, right?
I think I would prefer somebody to walk me through, especially when it's like IT type stuff, which is what Wednesday night is. It's all technical stuff typically anyway.
Yeah.
Having somebody there to not only because typically what you do is you just log into their back office or their app and do it for them, number one. So they're doing the problem for you, but then they're showing you why it wasn't working, or we're working through it with you going, yeah, you're right, this is weird. Like, not a lot of businesses do that.
It's a great combination of tech support, mindset support, marketing training. I mean, and on top of all that, to me, it's just a neat little group of people that
oh, absolutely.
seemingly like each other.
Well, it's pretty cool that, let's say you don't have a tech question, you can just go, I need some help. I need some guidance. I recently purchased the Elite package, and I know kind of an idea of what I want to do with my business. Well, we've got 7 or 8 people that have been with us for 10 plus years. They've been doing it. They're in those fields. They can kind of walk you through it. So, you know, if you can make it, I would say it's worth it.
And for new members as well, I got email, I guess, a couple weeks ago, where they get to not only hear, because you hear from us all the time, I mean, the podcast and all this.
Probably too much.
Probably too much. God knows we can be overexposed for sure. But I think it's cool for new members to be in a room where, number one, there's an exchange. There's talking back and forth. It's not a monologue.
Yep.
But two, it's one thing for me to say, hey, you can make this kind of money. You can do this. You can do that. And then you're in a room where there's actual people there that's doing it and say, hey, you know, it's been a great week. I just did this. I mean, we had a member on there just a couple of weeks ago who was just laughing. I said, what are you laughing at? And he said, I just closed $54,000 1 week, 54 grand, you know. And I realize, especially in the space that we're in online marketing and opportunity, numbers like that get thrown around, and to the point it's cliche and it's not even believable half the time, just to be honest with you. But to be in and know these people, I mean, so we know these guys, and they're just real people. I mean, these aren't people standing out in front of a jet or, you know, with a camera going to their garage and standing in front of some goofy car.
Right.
You know, they're just living life, doing life. And
I always liked that, because there is, and especially in the opportunity space, there's a lot of marketing that kind of comes across as disingenuous. And that's not saying it is, but it just really feels
I'm not making judgment. I'm just saying it's smacked.
Right, because there's 100 different guys that'll do it. But how many times have you seen somebody stand in front of the Lambo or the mansion and then tell you to buy their course, right? Yeah. I always really appreciated that. I feel like, at least in our marketing, I don't really ever see you stand in front of the Tesla. I don't, you know.
I've never done a video. I think I did.
Occasionally do, like, we're on vacation and this is, you know, this is what paid for our vacation. But for me, it's like, I don't know a lot of guys, because a lot of those trainings are free too. Yeah. Like, I made this much money. We're on vacation. Here's how I did it with Walgreens. I'll literally walk you through it. Like, there's some integrity, and I know it's coming from the people, but even still, there's integrity to what we do, and we mean it that way.
Yeah. I it's a fine line, because I get one of the things I don't know if you I know you do, because it was when Lindsay was here. We used to do weekly an income report.
Yeah.
And we just sort of stopped that.
Yeah.
And the reason I stopped that is just because for a lot of people it's inspiring, but for more people it's a derogatory thing.
Yeah. It's almost like a flex. Like, look how much money
and
I'm
it's like,
and that's not what it's intended to be.
What it's intended to be. I'm always trying to say, hey, here's Joyce Wilson's boy from Ruth that dropped out of college after 2 weeks, and you know, just had stupid enough not to quit, and if I can do it, God knows anybody ought to be able to, provided they don't have some sort of handicap that would prevent. I'm not saying that, but for the average person with the average, you know, cognitive abilities, there ought to be something you can find to do.
Well, that's why we love promoting our members.
Yes,
anytime our members close a big deal or they have a great week, we want to talk about it.
That's why we shifted our emphasis on, you know, let's stop talking, because it just doesn't. Because here's the deal. I mean, that's the other thing. I think it's a strong statement to say, hey, I did this, but it's an even stronger statement to say, but what I do is so duplicatable.
Here's the other people that are doing it.
Here are the other people that are doing it. Yeah. So.
And that's what's so cool about our Wednesday night trainings. Those people are there.
It is. It is. And you're going to be able to talk to them and see them and ask them questions and all of that. And what an exciting time to live in a country and in a world that you literally could, on one day, set up an app on your phone and literally start making up to $25 an hour just in your spare time. Isn't that right, River?
I'm telling you, this is, I could go on a lot about it, but I made in one night what it took me 2 days to make at a regular job, my regular restaurant job.
Just exploring entrepreneurialism.
Exactly. And
we don't need to mention names or anything. I don't want to get in that.
Yeah, exactly. But besides the money, it's my favorite thing about it is I get to.
Can we mention who he was?
Well, I don't want to mention anything just because it there's no way. Sure. There's no way it's going to help.
No, I just meant like with the new thing, the app on his phone. But yeah, I get what you're
it's just a way to work for yourself, freelance.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Freelance work.
Contractual work,
a form of entrepreneurialism.
Yeah.
And every time for the first time I've seen this kid in his career, he comes through the door smiling rather than which there is a utility and value in having that regular.
Yeah.
Because you got to understand,
Oh, absolutely.
That part of life.
You have to have something to relate it to.
There's always something to pay. I feel like I'm as I get older, I start to realize that more and more. But like entry level jobs suck. And I think they're supposed to suck.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I talk to a lot of people that I don't know. I want people to kind of think of it in the opposite terms of shoes, because I know a lot of people are applying for jobs and stuff, but a lot of jobs are available. But think of it in the recruiter space too. How many times I've talked to people that go, I go, well, what's your education? And they go, well, I didn't have any money to go to college and I didn't want to take out any loans. I get that. Same boat here. Associate degree, that's where I stopped. But then I go, okay, well, have you had any experience working for yourself? It's like, well, no, I've never worked for myself. It's like, okay, so you never... Well, have you done DoorDash? Have you done, any number of...
Any freelance type of work?
Any freelance work. No, I've never done that. I only work for hourly people. I was like, okay, so you want to go back to hourly. No, I hate hourly work. I go, okay, well, this is what we do. If you're interested in sales, well, I don't want to spend money. It's like, well, you're going to work for people that suck for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because your mindset's not where it needs to be.
They don't see
preaching to you.
I know, but
that's me telling myself that sometimes.
You are running into the very thing, I think, that holds so many people back, and that is just this cognitive dissonance between what truly is a choice. You either do this or you do this. You cannot have it, and so many people just can't get there. I want security. I want guarantees. I want you to take care of me.
I know what everyone wants,
but I don't want the other stuff that comes with that.
Here's what I want. I want a 6-figure salary, a 30-hour work week, 30 plus days a year off. Everybody wants those things, right?
Yeah.
But there's a cost to all of that.
But I don't want to pay for the education.
I don't want to pay for the education. I don't want to
take the risk of getting a loan to get the education.
And here's the counterpoint to all of this. There's somebody out there that will do all the things they need to do. They want to. They go, I want to do that, and I'll do whatever.
And they're
going to
pass you. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be, and you're going to see them on your social media feed living their life. Yeah. And you're going to sit back and you're
going to hate them because they're making money.
And you're just peeing vinegar over everybody because you hate life because they were willing to do what you weren't.
Yeah.
Because they accepted the rules of the game. Yep. And you just...
We're all playing by the same rules. Some people get a head start for sure. Nobody's saying that other people, it doesn't start fair.
We all have the same amount of hours.
But it is the same game.
No one's arguing that. Listen, I've got people that I went to school with that were doctor kids that were born with silver spoons in their mouth. They had all of these advantages, and I would not trade my life now for their life.
Yeah.
Because it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah.
And I would tell you, advantage sometimes is a liability. It's not an asset.
Sure.
I mean, I love the stories of some of these guys that are athletes. What's it, KD? Mm-hmm. I cried when he won the MVP, and I didn't even know him. This is back before the Warriors, and this is back before that. And he was just talking about him and his mom and sleeping on the floor. And that it was just like I was talking to someone at the gym today, and he says, "Can you give me a word of encouragement? I need some inspiration." And he was talking about some of the things that was stressing him out. I said, "Yes, sure." I said, "Do you remember the Oklahoma City bombing when they blew up that government building?" Mm-hmm. Yeah. I said, "Do you realize how they blew it up?" "No." "Boy, how'd they blow it up?" I says, truckload of manure. They literally turn manure in, because that's how there's a element of that. I forget the name of the actual element in that material.
It's probably like hydrogen of some sort.
But it actually can be turned into a bomb.
Yeah.
And I said, here's the trick to life, in my opinion. You take the crap of life and you learn how to turn it into a bomb to open up doors for yourself. Rather than you complaining about the pile of, excrement that's been put on you, you turn it into the very thing that's going to fuel, I'm going in that direction, and whatever wall's in front of me is about to come down. It's just a matter of choice. And I was listening to some.
I appreciate the metaphor.
Yeah. Well, I was using I was using some more colorful language.
It had me here for a second. We go. Talking about a manure terrace attack.
Well, I get it.
But overall, yeah.
But I had more freedom to speak more freely.
Sure.
And so
you weren't on a business podcast.
I wasn't on a business podcast, so I could use words that had a little more punch.
Yeah, sure.
But the point was this. I was listening to another side. You know, we and only we have the choice to decide how we interpret reality. You get to assign the meaning to what you're looking at right now in your life.
That's true.
And it can be a bad thing, it can be a good thing. It's just a matter of what you choose to assign to that. But we're going to get off our soapbox now because after this break here, I've got a training that's called the $500,000 a year business planning strategy. This is something that I use. This is a roadmap I've used that other members of TW3 that are high income earners are using. So it's not a matter, does this strategy work? It's been implemented and used for years by multiple people in different economies. Keep in mind, this business was started in the downturn of 07, 08. It has survived shifts in the economy, like with Obamacare and ACA, when the entire health insurance and life insurance markets were moving and changing and shifting because of that. It went through a great season. You know, you would think, well, you know, you can't do that well when the economy is doing great because who's looking for opportunity? No, we grew during those time. And then when the pandemic happened, the economy went back down, the markets went back down, and we were continuing to growing. So the strategy that is going to be shown in segment 2 coming up does work if you will work the strategy. So we'll be back right after this. Chapter 1, the 4 words that changed everything. Another day, another dollar. I just clocked in and was super excited. I finally felt like an adult. For the first time in my life, I was working for someone that wasn't a family member.
Hi, I'm Haven, and Terry Wilson's my dad. And the reason why I think I like this is it teaches me not only to earn money and work when I get older, how to earn it. It also teaches me how my dad used to live in the past, what he did, what was his first job, the reason why he came into this podcast sphere. So that's why I think I like his podcast and this audiobook.
Get the audio version of You Are Worth More at coachwithtw3.com. That's coachwithtw3.com. Get the first 2 chapters for free.
You're listening to TerryWilson3.com. Inspiring, informative, and entertaining content for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
And now back to our show with Terry Wilson.
We're back. Terry's got the $500,000 business strategy. So let's get into it.
Thanks, Reagan. Tonight, I want to talk to you about the $500,000 a year business strategy. And you say, well, Terry, that just sounds too good to be true. Are you just one of these pie in the sky online marketers that just sell hyperbole? I've been accused of that, and sometimes I do get excited, but here's the deal, guys. This is not just something I've done because, you should be able, if you're at this level, to be able to do something, but this is something I've been able to help tons of other people do. Okay. So why I'm so excited about this is not only is it doable, it's duplicatable. I know it's doable because I do it, but I know that other people can do it because I've seen them doing it. And you can come to our mastermind groups on Wednesday night and literally talk to some of these people. So it's a very exciting time. It's a very exciting opportunity that we have, and I'm not just talking about joining TW3 or anything like that. I'm talking about just being alive here in 2021, going into 2022. what an exciting time with the technology we have, and a lot of naysayers and negative Nancys and Debbie Downers is, oh, the sky's falling, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there's problems, but here's the good news. The people that can come up with the solutions will get paid to help others. You help others, you get paid for it. So my attitude is, every time I see problems, I'm like at a buffet of opportunity. And you've got to have that same mindset. So tonight, I want to show you a real, practical, applicable way that you, yes, you, can do better for yourself. Now, will everybody that hears this training tonight or hears this podcast make $500,000 a year? Of course not. Some of you might make more. Most of you might not even make a tenth of that. Who knows? I don't know. But if you will take these principles, I promise you this, they work. I promise you, I guarantee you that the principles that I'm going to show you, if executed on you in due diligence and good heart and with full faith, if you will do what we show you to do in this training tonight, it is going to improve your income. And it might surpass the 500K, but I use that as a marker just to show you step by step. This is a formula that I have helped hundreds of people with over 13 and a half years with over 4,500 members at TW3. I'm telling you, the system, the strategy, the training, it works. So let's get into it. How do you make 500,000 or better? Or how do you make 50,000? Don't get tripped up on the numbers. These principles, I'm telling you, they're going to help you. If you've watched my YouTube channels and videos and webinars over the last 13 plus years, you've seen me create all kinds of different videos of income hacks, of how you can make this, how you can do this. I had one of my most popular videos of how I made $142 in 20 minutes. $142 in 20 minutes. I showed you just using some basic tools, some basic techniques. I showed you how I didn't sell anything, didn't talk to anyone, and I made $142 on autopilot literally in 20 minutes. I also showed just a couple years ago how I made going out to the golf course, hitting a bucket of balls, learning how to get that hook out of my swing, or trying to anyway. I made over $850. Didn't sell anything, didn't talk to anybody. I showed just last year, the beginning of 2020, before we knew that the world was going to, the zombie attack was about to happen. I showed you going to Disney, how I went to Disney and made money with Walgreens. I showed you. That's all in my YouTube channel. So every single one of these videos over 13 and a half years, I've been showing these different tools, techniques, and trainings that I'm using in different markets. It doesn't have to be in the, the TW3 business. It could be one I showed you Walgreens, the other one I showed you insurance, one I showed you, financial planning, one I showed you lending and loan opportunities, one I showed you, there was another one I showed you on how to make money with honey. It's in there. It's all over at YouTube if you want to check this out sometime. But if you'll notice, there's a common thread in all of those videos. There's three things that I harp on all the time. It's almost become cliche here at TW3. There's three things you got to learn how to do if you're going to be successful in business. Number one, you've got to learn how to engage an audience. And that is a huge thing that a lot of people don't get. And here's the reason why it's huge. And here's the reason why it's the number one thing that trips people up the most. It's because it's a skill set. It's an ability that most salespeople think they have, and they don't. You see, a salesperson is taught to learn and love the product and be able to passionately show the value within the product or service so that the other person would want to make a buying decision. And that's great. But selling a individual that knows they want something or need something or in the market for something is different than marketing to a general audience that doesn't know you, doesn't know your product, doesn't even know they need your product or service. So marketing is learning how to engage a cold audience. So it's a skill set, and we harp on it all the time, learning to engage. Once I engage that audience, how to capture that audience. And what am I capturing? Their name, number, and email addresses. I want to have a conversation with you. I want to be able to talk to you. I want to be able to follow up with you. I want to be able to show you the value proposition that I have. First, I engage you. Then those who are engaged that walk over to see what is this guy talking about, I capture their attention by getting their name, number, and email address. Now, how do I get that? Maybe I have them call me. Maybe I have them text me. Maybe I have them opt into a forum. But in some way, maybe I have them have a one-on-one conversation with me right then and there. Maybe if you want to know the raw way this works, then harken back to the 1800s where Bonner and Bailey said the greatest way to draw a crowd is start a fight. That's engaging. There's people out there walking the streets. They're not involved. They're not engaged. They're not even thinking about, my circus act over here. So what I do, I create a ruckus. I create a spectacle. I create something that captures their attention. So I engage them, and they all walk over. And as soon as they engage, I have people coming up and say, "Hey, you want to see more entertainment like this? Here's a ticket." And so then I'm starting to give out tickets, and I'm starting to give out, ways to getting into the circus. And then those who come into the circus and see it, I have finally converted into an attendee, a consumer of my product, good, or service. These principles go back as long as time. You've got to be able to engage an audience. You got to be able to capture the audience, and then you got to be able to convert those who you have captured. Okay, and once you do that, you can make $50,000, $500,000, $5 million. It doesn't matter. That's the name of the game. Every one of those videos over at my YouTube channel, that's what they talk about. So, what does that mean? How does that work? What should you be involved with? You're out there today, and as Reagan mentioned earlier in the show, Laurie Ranier, the famous Sharkette on the Shark Tank, said the one thing that has come out of COVID is people not going back to work and deciding they're either going to start their own business or figure out a way to work from home. And so if you're in that mindset right now that, hey, I want to do something for myself, now is the time. This is a Kairos moment. This is the moment. If I'm ever going to do anything, I'll be able to do it now. If you're in that mindset, great. I think this is the time to do something. I really do. But you might be like most people who've tried to start things, or tried to start a business, or tried the restaurant business, or tried to get their retail or restaurant, their real estate license and got in that and just didn't do anything, or got their insurance license, went into that and didn't anything. Tried this thing over here, tried this thing over here. Nothing ever seemed to work out. Well, there's three things. There's three elements to any business you got to have if you ever want to make the money that you want, if you ever want to enjoy, if you ever want to earn, enjoy, and experience all of the things that you ought to be able to do in business. These are the three elements you got to have. Number one, the business got to be profitable. The product that you're selling, is it profitable? If $500,000 a year is the goal, does the product or business provide the profit to create that kind of income? And I see all these folks all the time getting in all these different types of businesses that if they were at the top level of income earners in that business, they probably wouldn't scratch $100,000 a year. I mean, it's just amazing the nonsense that's out there that you can really just have your time clogged up with. And so, number one, I mean, it sounds obvious, but think about it. If you're only making 10% of some low ticket item to start with, how are you ever going to make a full-time living off that? So number one, is the business profitable? How many, and here's the other thing. There are friends of mine that are professional musicians that are selling their songs for $1 a download on iTunes, and they're having it played on Spotify and all that. And it's very micro transactions and minimal payments. But listen, they have to have millions upon millions of sales and streaming to make any money. You can do that, but trust me, the moment you bring down the profitability of the engagement of that product, the sale of that product, is the moment you put a huge demand on how many people are buying. And so I have always found it's easier to become more profitable with one product than be a small profit and have millions of people engaged. It's just easier that way. So I always say, if any product or service I'm going to get involved with, is it profitable? Number two, is it predictable? Okay. TW3 started back when the Great Recession of 07, 08. So it was launched out of trouble. The time period it started was troubling in the economy. It went through transitions because at first we were in just insurance, marketing insurance, selling insurance, generating leads for insurance. Well, what happened through the Obama administration was ACA. So that shifted 1/6 of the economy, which is an insurance market. 1/6 of the economy changed. And so we had to shift with it. Well, is my business predictable? Can I predict a decent income year after year after year? It is if it's flexible and it's built on principles that can modify and change. It's not pigeonholed into one particular market, and as that market goes, so go I. So if I'm going to get involved in some pill, thrill, lotion, or potion, I better be asking myself, is that going to be in vogue next week, next year, next month? If the markets over here shift, how viable is this particular product or service? And if it's not predictable. If it's not predictable, it's not something I want to do. Finally, am I passionate about it? It might be profitable. It might sustain itself through the ups and downs of any economy, any market, any shift. But here's the deal. If I'm not excited about it, I can't get other people excited about it. If I'm not excited about it, I'm not going to push through the frustrations, the setbacks, the setups, the downturns, the times it's just not happy about the results I'm getting. What sustains me in TW3 and what has sustained me in tons of things I do is I try my best to get involved with the things that I'm passionate about. What am I passionate about? I'm passionate about inspiring people. I'm passionate about speaking to people. I'm passionate about equipping people to go further than they ever thought they could ever dream possible. That's my passion. So these tools and this business is a means to fuel that passion. You have to do the same thing. You have to figure out, what am I passionate about, and then tie your product, goods, and services along with those passions so that your business is sustainable through the best of times and the worst of times. The best of times, you just want to quit. Hey, I don't have to work anymore. Listen, if I was only motivated by money, I'd already quit because I made some money. But I'm passionate about doing things, right? And so you have to have that same thing. So $500,000 by the numbers. What does that look like? What does that mean? Let's drill down on that for just a second. What does $500,000 a year in your business, what does that look like? That means you got to make $41,000 per month. That means you got to make over $9,000 per week. That means you got to make about $1,400 per day. Now, this is where a lot of people will check out right now, because I'm throwing a big number out there for a lot of people. They're just like, I can't imagine it. But I want to show you how not only is this possible, but this can turn into probable if you're using the right tools, using the right techniques, and doing it in a persistent way. Okay? $500,000 is a big number. Yes, I get it. Yes, I understand. But I'm telling you, folks, if Joyce Wilson's boy from Ruth, North Carolina, that dropped out after 2 weeks of college, that has, just an average Joe, if I can do it, if tons of other people that I can point out, I don't want to disparage them or demean them in any way, but all I'm saying is, yes, I know some rock stars. Yes, I love some of the people I've been privileged to get to know, but a lot of the people I know and a lot of the people that are in this business and a lot of people that you can meet on Wednesday nights, they're just average people just like you. They're just like me in this one regard, too stupid to quit. I'm just not going to stop just because someone said no. I'm just not going to quit just because I got my feelings hurt. I'm not going to quit because I'm frustrated because I don't know how to post this blog or I don't know how to post this ad. I'm not going to quit just because I ran into this challenge. You see, if you will get a mindset that I'm going through this wall, or I'm going over this wall, I'm going under this wall, or I'm going to create a door, but we're going to go to the other side. When you have that mindset, I'm telling you, you would be amazed what you can do. You would be, it is amazing what the human spirit, the human can do if they set their mind to do it. So if you think 500K is just too big, then change your mind. And the biblical term for that is you need to repent. So let's get into it. There are 3 elements that you got to have in your business if you're going to do this. There's 3 things we harp on all the time. It's almost become cliche here at TW3 because we talk about it all the time. But the 3 things you have to consider, the 3 questions you have to consider when you've got a $100,000 a year goal, a $500,000 a year goal, or $1 million a year goal. Here are the 3 things you got to consider. Number 1, what product is going to get me there? What is the product? Number 2, how many people am I going to have to get this product in the hands of before I'm going to be able to make that a reality? And number 3, what is the process that gets those products in front of those people? And so they're buying so that I can make it happen. So let's talk about it. Product. Your product has got to have a $1,400 minimum commission. It's got to have a $100 maximum investment to the consumer, and it's got to be market diverse enough that it can withstand the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent when the winds of the economy and the market change. $1,400 minimum commission. These are my goals. This is my strategy. I'm not saying you have to have this. There's not other ways. I'm saying from my mindset, if I want to make $500,000 a year, then I've got to have a product in hand that it's going to pay me $1,400 for selling it, and it's going to require that customer, that client, to make a maximum investment of only $100. Now, why do I say that? Because studies have shown that the maximum investment that the average consumer is going to spend or can spend or will spend online in the space that I frequent is going to be around $100. Okay, so it's not a coincidence that my elite package pays $1,750 and you can have it for as little as $0 down and $89 a month. There's a reason for that. So when the reseller of that particular product sells that, they're making $1,750, and they're making also their client only spend $100 a month. And then there's trails on top of that. They're making $75 a month thereafter. So, and that particular product can go in any particular market. It can be a resource for insurance. It can be a resource for real estate. It can be a resource for retail, restaurant. It can be a resource as just a personal coaching. It can be a resource for ministry. It can be a resource for teaching. It can be a resource for anything, because at the end of the day, it solves the one problem that any business has, and that's lead generation, marketing. That is customer acquisition, that is management, customer management, and all the things you need to run an organization, whether it be a church, school, or business. It's got within that package. Okay, so it's market diverse. So my reseller, the person that's going to sell that product, can operate within any space they want to operate. You want to be in the lending or loan acquisition or loan origination. You want to be in that space. You can be in any space you want and take this product, service that market, because that's the market and make a minimum of $1,750, which in this instance, making $500,000, and all you have to have is a commission of $1,400. We bump it up a little bit and then put some trails on top of that, so you don't even have to make as many sales as the average person would to make that kind of income. Second thing is the people. Now, if I've got a product that's going to pay me a minimum of $1,400 and it's going to require the customer only pay $100 out of pocket to get started, and it's diverse enough that I can shift in different markets as the economy and the markets change from year to year, then the second question I got to ask, well, how many people do I've got to deal with? What does that look like? Well, I need to have 100 daily prospects. And out of those prospects, I need to be able to create 25 qualified leads. And out of those qualified leads, I need to have 3 daily closing appointments. Because if I do that, I'm going to be hitting my daily numbers. And what is that process to make that happen? That means I'm daily engaging a group, an audience. I'm daily qualifying those leads, and I'm daily listing or nurturing that list. And for those watching the screen, I did misspell nurturing. Okay. So just to bring that out. So number one, that means daily I've got ad copy up on social media, online, on Google, on Craigslist, on any and every space that I can think of that I can frequent and I can have reasonable return on. So daily, I've got some ad copy up. Daily, I'm driving traffic from those ads, that engagement process. Now, number one there, it could be, ad copy, but it could be text marketing. It could be email marketing. But the point is, I'm taking a cold market as someone that's not in my list of people and consumers that are actual warm leads, and I'm driving them to call me, to text me, or to opt into this form, number two. And then once I've captured their information so that I can send them information, I'm sending them a presentation, I'm sending them a webinar, I'm sending them some sales copy, I'm sending them something that says, thank you for engaging me here. Here's the reason I'm going to be able to solve your problem. Here's how I'm going to solve your problem. Here's why you'll want to do this. And let's get together. Now, most of the people that see this don't go any further. And that's why I then start following up with them with email, text, and voicemail drops. Number 4. So number 1, I'm daily engaged with them. Number 2, I'm taking those who are engaged and I'm capturing their information so that I'm daily. Number 3, sending them sales copy, ad copy, podcast, webinars. I'm presenting, knowing that even at that point, I'm going to have to drip on number 4 to finally have the opportunity to speak with them on my calendar. I book time to speak with them, number 5. And then as I'm speaking to 3 people a day that's on a closing call, I'm going to be collecting money because all I'm asking for is $89 down. to get them started. And when I do that, what's happening? I'm making $500,000 or better a year. If you will do that, if you will implement this template, this strategy in your business planning, I'm telling you, you are going to see a great return on your time, money, energy, and investment. All right, boys, back to you.
Earners are learners and leaders are readers. If you want to go to the next level, you do have to grow to the next level. And that's why I offer free audiobooks at terrywilson3.com/free book. That's terrywilson3.com/free book. When you go over there, you're going to get to try the service out for 30 days free. No obligation. And you get a free audiobook just for checking it out at terrywilson3.com/free book.
You're listening to TerryWilson3.com. Inspiring, informative, and entertaining content for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
And now back to our show with Terry Wilson.
So now, let's open the mailbox and take some of your questions.
Terry, I've been listening for a while and really like the idea of starting my own podcast to promote my business. I know you make money with your podcast, but I'm not clear on how I would generate income from the one I would start. I have a used car lot of about 25 to 30 cars, and I don't know how a podcast would reach used car buyers. I just always like the idea of doing a podcast, and I love cars and the car business. But again, I really just don't understand how that would turn into a car sale. Does this membership help with this? That's a great question.
That's a great question. You guys know anything about starting a podcast?
We know the entry levels of starting a podcast.
I love seeing you guys do that, though, by the way.
Did you listen to the new one?
Yeah, I did.
It's much better, right?
Yeah, it was. It was.
Good. You already uploaded it?
No, I haven't uploaded anything. So.
This Wednesday, you can find it.
Yeah, podcasting has been a fun thing here at the Wilson household. I've been doing it for years, and the boys have gotten into it, so it's fun watching and listening to them and understanding. There's a lot to it, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Especially
way more to it than most people.
The start of our last show was hilarious because you get on and you have to pretend like you're happy, and we started it and we were like, I'm going to be honest, I'm pissed. This stupid Audacity wouldn't work.
20 minutes to figure out how to record.
Nothing like technical snap. Well, it's just like today. You were walking in while I was recording segment 2, the training, and I'm going to have to go back and redo it because, of course, the audience don't hear this or know this.
Yeah.
But that's a pre-recording that we slide in.
And unfortunately, I couldn't just submit a ticket and have someone take care of it.
So, yeah, great question there about how does this I'm a car guy, but I love podcasting, and it's something I'd be interested in doing. Well, here's the thing, and this goes into what I just talked about in segment 2 about the distinction between sales and marketing. As a salesperson, and I'll put myself in your shoes, I'm a car guy. I love selling cars. I love talking cars. Let's talk about the motor. Let's talk about the interior. Let's talk about all this other stuff that goes into how fast it'll go, whatever. Well, that's all sales. Marketing is speaking to a wide general audience that may or may not even be interested in buying a car. But you first have to build the audience. And so you're not going to be up there, hey, today we're stacking them deep and selling them cheap. You got da-da-da-da-da, and you start listing off all the things you have. Well, you won't build an audience that way.
Right.
The whole reason this podcast is laid out this way, we get members all the time. We want you to go into this and this and this. I said, well, you're wanting me to do a training, or you're wanting me to do, what normally we do as a webinar or as a Wednesday night. A podcast is I'm trying to reach people that are not at TW3, that may not even ever become a member of TW3, but I just want them in the audience. I want them listening. I want them sharing the show. And so therefore, what do I have to do? I have to think about things that would bring value to them and entertain them around the idea of business. So that's the reason why we do a lot of things that are inspirational and mindset. And I have you guys in here where we're bantering back and forth and yucking it up a little bit and laughing because, I realize 95% of my audience will never buy from me. Yeah. They're just not. They're just listening because it encourages them, or they're already in this business and they're picking up little tidbits, ideas. And that's fine, but that's what brings I've got to bring value. And so when I'm talking to this gentleman about should I start a podcast, well, understand the podcast is going to do two things for you, I think. in the long run, not in the short term. Number one, it's going to create some authority. Honest to Pete, and it goes back to our first conference, and we talked about this, how, I think the core people that come to the conferences, they're used to us enough. They know us. I mean, we're like family. But that first one, it was amazing and weird how people were coming to us, talking and just staring. And
specifically you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like, but it had to do with the podcast. The podcast brings a certain element of, they must know what they're doing. They got a podcast. And the truth of the matter is,
anybody can start a podcast.
Anybody can do a podcast. Now what keeps us out there, and that's what I tell people.
But not anybody can do 393 podcasts.
493, excuse
me. What's 100 between friends?
But that's the point. It's going to give you some credibility and authority.
What are you? It's because it's too close.
If you're on the audio podcast, nothing happened. But if you're watching this video, the camera that's all right. Yeah. But obviously anybody can do that.
It's for the edited version.
But it's going to create some authority that you need in the marketplace. And number two, it is going to drive buyers to you, because if you start doing entertaining, informational things around the car, around the automobile industry, around this, reviews about what's going on. Hey, Ford is just doing this in their Lightning, and here's some things you need to understand and think about. If you start creating informational content like that and people love the way you do it, you don't even have to be the smartest, most informational. They just like you. I mean, there's tons of people I listen to. There's a guy on YouTube right now, and I can't even mention I don't even remember his name. He's from Arkansas. All he talks about is automobiles all the time. And back when I was shopping for the Tesla, he had a video reviewing the Tesla.
Okay.
Now, since then, I'm watching all the other reviews he does.
Sure.
This guy, I swear to God, when he does these reviews, I don't know if he's had like a whole bottle of Jack Daniels before he gets on, but everything is slurred. He is drunk off of his rocker.
Sounds like a good way to do it.
But I mean, but it is very entertaining because of his delivery.
It's a little bit of a numbers game too, I would imagine. You would know about it much more than, I or River, but with your podcast, the more people that just enjoy it, because you don't come on here with the intention of just selling something. We've actually gotten complaints before that we're too buddy-buddy, too jokey. And that's part of just having a podcast, trying to figure out what the formula is. Like, is it 3-to-1 we joke around and then we're serious?
Right. What's the ratio? What can we do?
Should we put it at the end? Should we put it at the beginning? That type of thing.
Yeah.
But it seems like when you have listeners that just enjoy listening to you to begin with and they have regular viewings, there's a higher likelihood that other people are going to find your show because so many people are regularly coming back. Then it gets suggested and stuff like that.
It's that viral effect. Yeah.
I was listening to your friend, Cliff Ravenscraft, because I was, we're doing our podcast and stuff, and I have one that I'd like to do based on basketball.
Right.
And he had an excerpt. This was an old video I found on YouTube. He had an excerpt. It was like a throwaway line, but I thought it was a really good way of thinking about it. He had said something like, when you're doing a podcast, think of it like you're hosting a bunch of friends at a party, like at your home, or you're, the last time you had a really fun conversation with your friend or your business partner and you're laughing and you go, that was really funny when he said that. Those are the moments. Make a note. Be like, let's talk about that. Let's do it in a similar way. And so, River's done a pretty good job. He's gotten better at when he comes in and he wants me to do his podcast. He's got notes. He's like, if we were to talk about this outside the podcast, it'd be really funny, but let's not talk about it. Let's wait until we get to it. So if you're, this guy's doing a car show, let's say, your favorite brand's Ford, like you were saying, they're coming out with a new Ford and a new F-150 and you want to talk about it and get a buddy on. And if you guys hate Ford, talk,
just crap on Ford.
Crap on Ford, do whatever, make it funny,
Well, that's the thing.
Enjoy it. Do what you would normally do because you'll find your audience of people that really enjoy the way. I'm sure there's a ton of people that if they listen to me and River, they would hate it. But for all those people that hate it, I would imagine there's probably another 50% that would like,
dude, 98% of the people that get my newsletter, hear my podcast, or see my show, they hate me.
Sure.
I am hokey.
Sure.
I am whatever. I mean, name whatever disparaging remark you can articulate with your limited vocabulary. I'm thinking of one of you right now. But there's 2% that digs my vibe. And it's just a numbers game.
There's a lot of people out on Earth.
And there's a ton of people on Earth.
You know what 2% of, what is it, 8 billion people is?
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to be okay.
You'll find your market.
The problem, I think, most people that get into content creating, specifically in podcasting and creating video, is they try to be all things to all people.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that. What you got to figure out is, what's my brand? Yeah. What am I about? And what am I going, where am I headed? Like, for instance, I want to improve myself. Even now, I'm not the version of Terry Wilson I want to be. So I'm always wanting to improve. Well, if I'm always wanting to improve, I look down the road and I look, what does improvement look like for a year from now, 10 years from now? Okay, that's what it looks like. So I've got to ask myself, the content I'm creating and the way I'm delivering it, is it going to impair the better Terry Wilson? So that's why I was talking to you. I said, do what you want to do. Just think about your brand. Think about where you want to be, not where you're at. Where do you want to be? It's just like you taking that stupid ice cream away from me. Anyway, we go out to eat the other day. I go back for seconds, and he throws my ice cream away. He says, is what you're doing today, is tomorrow's Terry Wilson going to thank today's Terry Wilson for it?
And I told you, you would thank me later. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow.
He talked to me like I was an AA or something.
When you have abs, all I request is a thank you.
That's all I say. But that's the point about podcasting. Yeah, that's a great question. And I would tell you, it's probably the best thing you could ever do for your business, because not everybody's going to come on that small used car lot. But if everybody can get a cut of who you are, understand your vibe, you'd be amazed at the people that might drive 2 or 3 different states away, just to come get a car from you or see if you can broker a deal. And then the other thing is, if you become a member, we can show you ways of monetizing your car business through your podcast with your car business, and not even ever sell a car. You know, that's one of the things that we show you how to do. And we'll show you how to grow your podcast with our tools, because at the end of the day, what's a podcast? It's a product or a service, right? How do you get listeners? Through marketing. What do we offer? Market. How does a nobody here get such ratings and able to get a lot of people listening to podcasts? Through marketing. At the end of the day, it all comes back to, you need people. You know, and drive those. So great stuff.
I like the questions that get us off on a tangent. That's how you know it's a good question. Question 2. Why would I have to spend money to get a website from you when I can get a website for free with so other many web companies? Well, if all you got was a website, that would actually be a great question. It is a good question, but
it's a great question. I got that through our support email, and you're right. If all it was
I would agree. I'd be like, yeah, that's stupid. Don't buy it. Just
I didn't know we were just selling websites, but
what's the easiest way that people can kind of see everything we offer? Just
go to terrywilson3.com/FAQ, and it gives you a list and a breakdown. One of the things you get as a member is a website, but newsflash, we're even telling members, you go and we'll give you a WordPress site.
Yeah, what's funny is that we actually have training. It's like, hey, if you don't like our websites, that's okay. We got these other ones that here's what we recommend.
That's such I put it in there just because I apparently, sometimes, even though I think
it's a good question because it helps answer other questions.
Yeah, and it also represents that obviously it's not obvious.
Yeah.
Because someone's asking.
Sure.
So the point is this. Our members get a WordPress site on our network, but we also give you, and one of our members in our mastermind says, do you people realize how cheap he's offering this hosting just to give you it? Because he understands.
Sure.
$6 a month if you want to host it on our server. And you can have your own website, and we give you the website. And if you're a member, we also give you some plugins, which is another way of saying software.
Well, here, as you like to say, here's the dirty little secret. We don't give you a website just because we want to give you a website. Like you were saying, any person can give you a free website. You really can. There are a lot of places. We want to give you software. We want to give you tools, and we want to give you training on how to use those tools. In order to do that, it has to be hosted somewhere. And the easiest thing for us to do, instead of just giving you a PDF that says, here's how you buy a website, we go, Here's a website.
Here's a website. That's exactly right. I mean, at the end of the day, what we're selling you is a membership that comes with all of these amenities, with software, websites, strategies, support. That's what we're selling.
Yeah, we're not just trying to get you a website. That just happens to be by proxy of what else we're doing.
And here's a great thing. One of our top producers, Chris, he still has his websites over at, I think it's Wix or one of those companies.
We have a few members that don't host any of their stuff through our.
And we tell them all the time, you do you. If you know a particular content management system and you're happy with that, then do that. We've never been into widget sales. It's not about the widget. It's how you put it together and use it.
Well, I think that goes also into people don't really know the space quite as well. You know, if our bread and butter was that we were selling websites, we'd be out of business because GoDaddy does a lot better than we do.
We're not going to compete with GoDaddy.
They're in the Super Bowl. That's not our business space.
And I don't think none of us would look that good in a NASCAR outfit in a race car.
I'll speak for yourself. I got a pretty... I squat. Can your system generate leads for my piano studio? I teach students piano, and I'm trying to get more students to grow up. I'm trying to go full-time with my teaching rather than going back to my former job.
Yeah.
Good for this guy. Or girl.
Good for you. We've got folks in our business that do drum lessons, guitar lessons, and everything in between, so it's no different. And if you come on as an elite member, one of the software pieces that you get is what's called our membership software, which literally allows you to create training modules and break it up. And so it's really cool, and you could give it away or sell it. So if someone came to your studio, you could give them homework assignments through that, and it tracks their progress.
It's almost like that's what you did.
It's
almost like every single one of the tools is something that you yourself use. And
that's exactly right. When you become a member of TW3, you get all these training modules. And so whether I'm training you on how to play drums, piano, keyboard, or how to market, you know, the infrastructure and the software to do that is all the same. So absolutely. And so but to answer that person's question in a more thorough fashion, think about what we just said. You're going to have the tools to support the business and the products you're creating, which is the training. And you're going to have the training on how to market, and you're going to have the tools that you need to market. So everything you need from start to finish, except the actual piano, is provided to you.
You sure you don't want to jump back into piano sales real quick?
Absolutely, heck no.
Okay, that was the last one of our questions here. So
great questions. Well, when we get back, we've got some announcements to make, and let you know about what's on the schedule coming up, and a little bit more when we get back right after this. Are you like 98% of people who've tried a home-based business and didn't work out the way you wanted? Most home-based businesses and most people who try a home-based business have a hard time, and here's the reason why. It's not about them. They can do it. You can do it. But you're set to fail right from the get-go because you lack one unique thing you gotta have, and that is a means, a method, mechanism, in other words, a way of getting in front of people who need what you have, who want what you have a desire for it that you can sell to. When you have the TW3 marketing system, you have everything you need to get in front of as many people as you want on demand and make money. And here's the other beautiful thing. You're selling products of high commission. You're gonna make anywhere from $750 up to $18,000. If you get 25 qualified leads that come through your sales system and funnel that we teach you how to set up at TW3, you are going to sell one, and you're going to make a minimum of $750. That's the power of TW3. That's the power of our system. That's why so many people have been with us for so long after all of these years online. Tools have changed. Technology has changed. The training has changed. But one thing that hasn't changed is the ability to get in front of people, and that's why you can make money at TW3.
You're listening to TerryWilson3.com. Inspiring, informative, and entertaining content for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
And now back to our show with Terry Wilson.
All right, all right. Well, guys, this has been a great show.
Yes.
Yeah, it seems pretty good.
Been really good.
Well, I can tell you guys been practicing podcasting.
Oh,
too.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've been behind a mic.
That's right. It's really fun. You should start one, guys.
I don't know if you've tried it, but podcasting is pretty fun. No, genuinely, as like just a hobby for people, though, I think talking about the hobbies and the things that you enjoy in life, right? Like, because generally that's all it is anyway, is the thing that you enjoy. Talking about it and then having to put in a little extra effort to like, is my sound good? Does, is it cut the right way? Should I cut some parts out? Do I want an intro song?
Editing and all that.
But that makes you like, that commits you to something that's a part of a passion, right? It's not, I'm doing this mindless grunt work for some guy that's going to make more money than me. It's, I'm doing this for myself and maybe it'll turn into something. And that alone, whether anyone ever listens to it or not, is invaluable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I recommend people start podcasts.
It's a project of whether it's art or an album or any music. It's just a project you can work on and, put your mind to something.
We're all designed to be creative people. I don't care who you are. People say, no, I'm not that creative. No, you really are creative. It's just you haven't found your thing. You might not be in music. You might not be in art.
You might be bad at drawing.
You might be bad at drawing. But at the end of the day, we all want something to pour ourselves into. That's what gives life purpose and meaning. You'll have to get him to play 2 podcasts back to back, because I was trying to show him the difference between bringing something up to what's called red label, radio standard, versus just what traditional podcasts are. I says, if you want to hear the difference, and he'll tell you. Yeah. I said, what's the most popular podcast in the world? Joe Rogan, right?
Jamie, pull that up.
Jamie, pull that up.
Have you seen gorillas, dude? Did you see that video of that deer? I've got some elk meat in the fruit.
I tell you, if you'd have held a gun to my head and put me under sodium pentothal, I would have never said, yeah, the Fear Factor guy is going to be huge when it comes.
It's a great podcast.
It is. I listen to it all the time.
I will argue with anyone about that, because I know people don't like Joe Rogan's podcast. You're wrong. I don't care what your opinion is. His podcast's good, even if you disagree with him.
I don't even understand how someone can disagree with Joe Rogan.
He's so fun to listen to.
Well, the thing is, I've seen him on both sides of any issue.
Yeah.
It's not like he's...
Yeah, it's not like... and what I like about Joe Rogan, it's the audience thing, right? What we were just talking about is like, find your niche. He's interested in these really, really like detailed and like complicated fields, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere from black holes.
Yeah, in the universe.
In the universe, right? Where you get Neil deGrasse Tyson
deer urine.
Or physicists, right? To deer urine, and like, I shot an elk and it had 14, whatever. And it's like, that guy...
He's got a wide spectrum of interest.
And then 60% of his podcast is mixed martial arts, which nobody on the planet gave a crap about until Joe Rogan started talking about it. And everybody's like, yeah, I like mixed martial arts.
Well, it's just, he has a unique ability to make anything interesting.
But that's what's cool about it. He took his hobby, the thing that he likes, and he talked about it in such a passionate and like, he put himself into it. And now I kind of care about mixed martial arts. Do I really care? Not really.
Well, what other show can you go from Jordan Peterson to Ron White to Jewel?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
like in one episode, we're with an astrophysicist that's going to talk about the moral implications of black holes being alive, and you're like, wow, this is really heavy. And then the next episode, it's like, this guy shot 14 bucks in 2 different days, and we're going to talk about how we hunt. It's like, it's really cool. It's cool. He's talking about the things that he likes.
Oh my word. Well, listen to his audio and then listen to the one I gave you and just compare them. I said, if you want a reference why I'm so I said, I came up in a different time period where the audio had to be at minus 10 dB, set to this level, compressed this way and everything. So that's just where my ears are tuned. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's where I'm. And if I ever wanted to take any of my stuff, put it on radio, that's what they're going to demand.
Yeah.
Whereas we live in a time period now. Yeah, it sounds good. His podcast. I'm not throwing shade. It sounds good. But compare it to what I said. You hear the difference, and he goes, yeah. And I says, what's the difference? They come from radio. He don't. He's just podcast. I said, so that'll give you an idea to get in your head as, where do you want to go with this and what do you want it to sound like? Because there isn't there?
There's a good sound. difference.
Yeah. And there's a huge distinction. So, a couple announcements before we get out. Last mastermind of the year will be this coming Wednesday at 8 p.m. If you're an Elite member, make sure you are there. We're going to be taking questions, and I'll be there as long as you need me to be answering your questions. So be there this coming Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And if you got questions, I know we got a ton of new people. If you got questions on how to get in there and something like that, you can use the chat bot over at TerryWilson3.com, or you can text us the question anytime at 864-507-9696. Text any question anytime at 864-507-9696. The last live streaming podcast of the year will be next Monday. So next Monday we have another live stream, and then we're out for the year.
Until January what?
Until, that's a great question. That's a great question. I wished I was prepared.
Until next week.
Hey, Jamie, pull that up. When's the next live podcast?
Well, he said it earlier, and I was like, okay. So we start.
That'll be Monday, January the 3rd will be after. So next week is what, the 20th? Mm-hmm. So we're basically taking the 27th off. And
I feel like there's something around there.
Well, you got New Year's, which is your mother's birthday.
I was making a joke. There's like 3 major holidays right there.
And I've got a doctor's appointment that morning.
Oh, okay.
So
that's what I was thinking.
That's probably what you think.
That's what I was thinking.
And a little health tip: stay off Accutane. Just don't take it. It ain't worth it. But anyway, that's the difference.
Noted.
Yeah. Consult your own medical physician. But I'm just telling you.
Now's the time for the disclaimer. No one here is a medical professional.
I am not a medical professional. I know nothing about it. Is stay away from Accutane.
Do what you want. Don't take Accutane.
Do what you want. Do whatever your doctor says, but don't take it. Now's the time to get
not sponsored by Accutane.
Also, now is the time, guys. If you want to start your own business, now's the time. Our Elite membership, you can get it for as little as $89 a month. Come on, have all the tools, training, and technology you need to grow and go as far as you want. That, I mean, it's never been more affordable. It's never been more available, and it's just the time, because you got the businesses that are out there, they're needing solutions, and the individuals out there that are saying, hey, I'm not going into work anymore. They're looking for a platform to start launching their own thing. And so it's just a great time. And I would say get in now, because you can take the holiday break, learn all this stuff. So when January hits, you're hitting the ground running rather than learning. And so that's what you want. So get in. $89 a month will get you our top package, and you can get started making $500,000 a year potentially. Okay, disclaimer: that's not guaranteed. It's individual results may vary, but you'll have the tools to do it. So get in. Marketplace will be huge next year. Marketplace, if you're an Elite member, means that you have these individual components. Now you can compete with MailChimp, GetResponse, Aweber, Calendly, Acuity, all of these various marketing components that people are out there using individually. You can offer them and package it together even for them for an individual niche. Maybe they're in the car business. Maybe they're in the dental business. Maybe they're in the salon business, whatever. You've got a marketing suite of solutions that is as good, if not better, than anything out there on the market, is also more affordable. And you are getting, check it out, 50% every month for what it's costing that business. And we've got business owners that's been spending $500 to $1,000 a month on some of these components that are now able to get it for a couple $100 a month. Better components, more affordable components, and you, the Elite member, that $200 a month they're paying, you're getting $100 of that. So it is the deal to get involved, because that is where the market's headed, and you'll be on the cutting edge of that. Till next time, we will see you later.
Thank you for listening to our show today at TerryWilson3.com.
Get a free sample copy of the book You Are Worth More by going to TerryWilson3.com now.
If you would like more information on how we can take your money, your business, and your life to the next level, then please visit us online at TerryWilson3.com.